children. One of the very first things American students of French learn is how to order un coca at a restaurant, although you would not have guessed that from Joe's and Eva's blank and disbelieving stares when I had ordered 2 beers and invited them, in French, to order their cokes from Monsieur. He had stood there, looking back and forth, apparently as irritated with my turning this into a teachable moment as with their refusal to speak. He returned now, carrying a tray, in T-shirt and Adidas sweats, walking on the collapsed heels of his espadrilles. He set 2 glasses of Kronenbourg, that ubiquitous, inoffensive, thoroughly quaffable Parisian café standard, in front of Mary Jo and me, and poured each of the kids a Coke. "Can you ask for some ice for the kids?" asked Mary Jo. The cafe owner stood waiting to hear something in his own language. "They never serve ice in France," I said. "Sure they do," she said. "No, they don't," I said. And what I meant was that, sure, you could ask for ice in France, and they might even have some, but it was not normal, and it made you into that person. In my case, the tall American wearing hiking shoes, at a table with 2 cameras on it, speaking English to my family, who asked for ice. Nobody wants to be that person. "Merci," I said to the owner and smiled. He notched the serving tray under his armpit and stalked off. Eva took a sip. "It's warm," she said. "It's not warm. It's cool," I said. "It is warm," said Joe. "It's not warm. It's not a 32-ounce Slurpee, but it's not warm." "This is what I was talking about," said Mary Jo. "Weren't we literally just talking about this?" "Guys, we're in France," I said. "Things are going to be different. That's part of why we're here." The church bell rang out the noon hour as I took a sip of beer. Across from us, the doors of a municipal library stood open, blasted by sunshine. I tried leaning back in my plastic chair, then feeling a suspicious amount of give, sat back up. The talk around us was blessedly free of the English, German, Swedish, and Dutch that seem to breed in those popular places that are in the process of changing, or have already changed, from themselves into painted and tourist-hungry imitations of themselves. But the French I was hearing was a rapid-fire sing-song that sounded more Spanish or Italian in many ways than French. And despite the near-French fluency on which I had long prided myself, I struggled to follow much of anything that was said around us. James Dean returned and stood hip-shot beside our table, as if resigned to get through this cruddy little episode so he could resume staining his teeth with dark roast and tar. I asked him what a gardien was, and he explained that it was like a daube de boeuf, but made with the meat of bulls from the Camargue. I think I had a notion at that point of what a daube de boeuf was, a beef stew, red wine, but my awareness of it was like my awareness of haggis or stockfish or krummkake, something exceptionally regional and distant, more tradition than food. And what was sèche farcie, I wondered. He puffed his cheeks and blew. It was a fruit of the sea like an encornet. My blank smile revealed that I did not know what an encornet was any more than a sèche, and as he absently described a stuffing made of breadcrumbs, sausage, and aromatics, he scanned the tables surrounding us and skipped over to a bald man in a track suit, sitting by the door, confiscated his partially eaten plate, and placed it under my nose. "Sèche farcie," said the waiter. On the plate were 2.5 ghostly white inflated ovoids smothered in tomato sauce. The half-eaten one resembled the ivory-colored stomach of a good-sized largemouth bass that had been stuffed tight with bratwurst, and the steam rising into my face was a rich perfume of mingled tomato, sausage, onion, garlic, and saltwater pier. "Some kind of shellfish?" I asked Mary Jo, as the waiter returned the plate to its rightful owner. "Squid?" she asked. The waiter returned now to display a whole fish, like a huge bronze sunfish, branded with grill marks. "Dorade," he said, and swept away again as the attention of our fellow diners gravitated toward us. He returned once more with a plate from the baker's table, and whether knowingly insulting or simply thorough, explained to us that the meat patty with melted cheese on it, sandwiched between 2 slices of brioche, was a cheeseburger. "I will take the sèche farcie," I said when the waiter had rejoined us. Despite my introvert's tendency towards social reticence, I was and always had been a broad-minded and rather swashbuckling eater, willing to find room in my heart and my palate for anything that any fraction of the human population had at some time found to be edible fare. I asked the kids in French what they would like. They sat uncomfortably for a second or two, and Joe looked imploringly at Mary Jo. "Dad," said Eva. "Stevie," said Mary Jo. "What?" I asked. "You know what they want, just order it." "And for you, madame?" asked the waiter. Mary Jo appeared for a time willing to wait me out. "Madame?" asked the waiter. cheeseburger avec frites.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.